In this video, we're going to graph the equation y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 2. First, we want to find our a, our b, and our c values. The a is the coefficient of x squared, or whatever's in front of x squared. The b is the coefficient of the x, or whatever's in front of the x, and the c is the constant. So in this case, a equals 2, b equals 4, and c equals negative 2. Next, we want to find our vertex. The x-coordinate of the vertex is found by using the formula negative b over 2a. All we have to do is plug in our b and a. Since b is 4, we can put negative 4 over 2, and a is 2. So that becomes negative 4 over 4 and negative 1. To find the y value of the vertex, we plug in the x value into the equation. So wherever we see x, we plug in negative 1. Then we evaluate it. So negative 1 squared is going to give us a positive 1. So that becomes 2 times 1. Plus 4 times negative 1 gives us negative 4. And then minus 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Whenever we add a negative, it becomes subtraction. So that's going to be minus 4 and then minus 2. Negative 2 minus 4 gives us negative 2. And then negative 2 minus 2 gives us negative 4. So the vertex is going to be negative 1, negative 4. Next, we want to find our axis of symmetry, and I'm just going to abbreviate that as AOS. And the axis of symmetry is just the line that cuts the parabola in half. Since it goes through the vertex, all we have to examine is the x value of the vertex, and our equation is x equals negative 1. And lastly, for the y-intercept, that's going to be wherever the wherever the parabola intersects the y-axis. So at that point, your x is going to be 0. So if we want to find the y-intercept, we can plug in 0 for x into the equation, or the shorthand way is just to look at the value of c. So the y-intercept is going to be x, and the value of c is negative 2. So that's where our parabola is going to cross the y-axis. So now we can graph it. We said the vertex was negative 1, negative 4. The axis of symmetry was x equals negative 1. And we said the y-intercept was negative 2. So the first thing I'm going to do here is plot my vertex at negative 1, negative 4. Then I want to put in my axis of symmetry, and I'm going to use a dotted line here only because the axis of symmetry is not exactly a part of the parabola. It helps us to graph the parabola, but it's not a part of the parabola. Next, I'm going to graph my y-intercept. That should actually be written as 0, negative 2, right? Because it's a point. It's the point where the parabola crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to graph that at 0, negative 2. So now I want to look at the reflection point. The reflection point is simply where the y-intercept is reflected across the axis of symmetry. So remember, the axis of symmetry is the darker green line that's dotted, and if the y-intercept is being reflected across the axis of symmetry, it's going to be going to the left. So all I have to do is count how far away the y-intercept is from the axis of symmetry. And it's exactly 1 point to the right, so then my reflection point is going to be 1 point to the left of the axis of symmetry. And that point there is -2, -2. So I've graphed all three of my points. The last thing I need to do is connect them. I connect them and I put an arrow at the end because they keep going on forever and ever. So that's the end of the video, and thanks for watching. I hope this helps.